Aditya Nowotny, Transformational Leadership Training. Today with Silvia Musuro from Cyprus, Greek Cyprus.
Yes.
Today you live in New York?
Yes, I live in New York City for almost 14 years.
14 years. And our question to you today is, why are you angry?
Wow, that's a really beautiful question. And I know I don't look angry, but I can be very angry sometimes. Why I am angry? I believe that all of us have that capacity. And actually anger is a very strong survival instinct or quality. The anger is here to protect us, not to be taken advantage of. And so when that anger comes, it's like fire. And it comes in the body and it's poking you. It needs your attention. You need to see that anger. So the reason that I found out yesterday, actually, after a beautiful workshop that we received, and I had received a lot of essential oils in my body, flower essences and beautiful smells. One of them hit me deep in my body, into the base. After the positive feelings, I hit a strong feeling of anger.
Wow.
A bubbling feeling of anger.
So you went basically, it was like a journey all the way to your bottom?
Yes. It was.
And there you found your hidden anger, your suppressed anger.
Exactly. It was a journey, as I'm used to with meditation, going from the top, the third eye. And as I was going down, I was feeling the bliss and the beauty of the perfume. I went through a lot of beautiful spaces, and all of a sudden, I realized that the experience I had was anger hidden in my guts.
Wow. And that's the usual place for anger. It's in the guts, it's in the belly, it's in the navel region, it's in the Manipura chakra. So, anger is something that is in many people's lives. Some people acknowledge it. Some people take time to acknowledge it. And the reason why it's such a special creature is because it comes from a totally different origin. We have to ask ourselves what makes us angry and what's the root cause for anger.
Yes, of course, emotions come from experiences. And in my particular life experience, it has been experiences a tremendous loss this past summer, July, August, around that time, of where everything I have worked for 4 or 5 years almost, starting from scratch completely, a new business that I love tremendously. It was like my baby. Everything in there was created, the color, the logo, the smells, the energy was my touch. And it went really back in my life as a priestess of tending for a temple. It was a temple of healing and wellness. And then things happened and a conflict happened and I lost that place. I had to walk out of that place to save my life, save my well-being. And so this entire summer I was battling with the process, the steps of acceptance and of seeing.
So you basically lost control.
I lost control and I lost everything.
It was your baby and you lost control because there was another person interfering, conflict of interest, legal battle,
yes,
wrong partnership,
yes,
and you lost it all.
yes.
And how did you feel when you lost control?
I felt that the carpet was pulled under my feet. I felt that a big part of my identity was lost, but that was an illusion. But this is how I felt.
You're still what you are.
Yes, and even more.
I know you from before and I know you now.
Yes, and even more. But what was intriguing is that anger was hiding until yesterday.
Uh-huh.
I didn't face that anger.
Yeah, so you lost the control. And how did it make you feel, this loss of control and this loss of your business, this loss of your baby?
Vulnerable and helpless.
Vulnerable and helpless.
Deep helplessness.
Now, I'm asking you, dear viewer, have you ever experienced vulnerability in your life? and still felt the need of pretending to be strong? Have you ever experienced helplessness and you couldn't do anything about it? And what comes out of such a helpless situation? You lose control, you are vulnerable, and what do you do next?
The first step, as I saw yesterday, is to see it, observe it, identify it. Because if you continue pretending that it's not there, it's going to harm you, you're going to get sick and out of balance.
So that's one thing that happens to people. They have this anger and they don't come to terms with it. They lose the control, they feel helpless, and they could shout around. I've seen people also smashing things when they become uncontrollably angry, because in fact they were helpless. In fact they lost control. And then there is other people, they eat it down into their own belly, they push it down into their belly, and then it doesn't manifest as a cry, a shout. Then it doesn't manifest as the person jumping around like a madman, smashing things. Then it manifests as an energy that you push down in your gut, and it becomes a self-destructive energy for your body and for your emotions.
Yes, because you get sick and also you get blocked in creating. Your life force is getting blocked.
Yeah. And now the outcome, life force being blocked, could be physical health issues. The outcome could be also what I have seen with some people, the anger sabotages themselves.
Yes.
That means these people, they do not act out the anger to the outside because they are helpless and they don't know who to address that anger to.
Yes.
And now they basically come into a vicious circle of punishing themselves.
Mm-hmm.
For example, they make money, but then they're still angry, and then they destroy the money they have made. They lose the money again. Or they build up something, but then still this destructive energy of anger is inside them, and they destroy what they have built. And it can become a repeating pattern. The question is really, have you been already in that pattern from a former cycle? And that what you lost now in the last month was only a result. And of course, that losing everything now and experiencing this helplessness, losing your business, your baby, was of course again this beginning of a new cycle of helplessness and anger.
Yes, it's tremendous how unconscious things and unconscious patterns can replay again, and especially ancestral patterns. Something that my parents experienced in 1974 in Cyprus. After so many years, I was making it happen completely unconscious.
So what happened in Cyprus in 1974? It was the war between Greece and Turkey?
In 1974, Cyprus was invaded in July. And my parents had...
By Turkey?
By Turkey. And my parents had lost everything they owned in a day.
Wow.
Everything they owned in a day.
Wow.
And what I found
They
out...
were driven out of their house?
They walked out.
They had to run for their life?
They had to run for their lives with their shoes and luggages.
And that was 3 years before you were born?
Yes.
Wow. And so we know from modern research, also from Holocaust victims and the sons and daughters and grandsons and granddaughters, that these tragedies that people experience who lose everything in a war, or that Holocaust survivors experienced in a concentration camp, that feeling of being totally unworthy, that feeling of being a subhuman, that can manifest even in the genetic code, in the DNA. And according to modern research, it's at least 3 generations that it manifests, that pattern, genetically. And people who are born afterwards, it's in them. The whole principle, the whole conflict is in them. And at the same time, the Bible already tells us it goes even 7 generations.
Mm-hmm.
So the question is really now what to do. No matter if it's your own actual conflict, or no matter if it's an inherited pattern from your parents or even from 4 generations before. The problem happens, you've lost everything, you have barely survived, and now this total helplessness and this just coming away with bare life And then this undefinable anger against whoever did these bad things to you or to your forefathers is there. Now what can we do?
Yes, this is the question, what can we do? The first thing I am grateful for is the ability to see it, observe it, identify it. Had I be going on with my health problem, feeling stressed, feeling upset stomach, not seeing, not observing what it is the issue, then I would never find out. So the first thing is observing and accepting. Many times as people that are spiritual and love yoga and meditation, we are afraid to feel anger. We demonize anger. We feel that anger is a bad thing. Oh my God, anger is a criminal. But the truth is that anger is a human feeling. So if I identify it and I accept it, that's the first step.
Acceptance. Because interestingly, many people who are angry, they are in denial about their anger. They don't even want to acknowledge it.
Yes.
What happens when you are denying even to accept that you are angry?
You get sick.
You get sick.
Really physically sick.
That's one possibility. Another possibility, and that's of course the most often. Another thing that I have seen, things constantly go wrong in that person's life.
Mm-hmm.
Because anger is a destructive energy, and that anger energy manifests, emanates from the person, and constantly the life circumstances of that person, something goes awry, something goes wrong, and very often the people become the victim of their own anger. They lose places, they have to move, relationships break up, they get bankrupt, this and that, and they have no idea that it's the suppressed anger they were harboring, a destructive force that manifests around them and that destroys things around them, including their relationships with their dear ones, including businesses, and they have to leave even the apartment, they have to leave even the house. So that destructive energy, if it stays in you, it destroys your body, it makes you sick. If it manifests around you, it can lead to many. For these people, it's mysterious. They say, why do I have so much bad luck?
Yes.
Why do things always go wrong? Why can I never finally live a life where I can be happy and where I can get what I deserve? And they have no idea it is because they carry that anger inside themselves and they have never even come to terms. They've never acknowledged it that they are angry. If that rings a bell with you, you're not alone. It's a high percentage of people that have some form of hidden anger. So step number one, accept your anger. Come to terms with your anger. It's not bad to be angry because in fact it's very human. We all had experiences where we lost things, where we were attacked, where we were deprived, where we were lorded over. And we felt that feeling of loss of control and we felt that feeling of helplessness. And some people even got into learned helplessness.
Yes.
That means it's not genetically transmitted helplessness, but the parents teach them you are helpless, you can do nothing, obey the order, do what they tell you. And that is not very good for a free being. Do what they tell you, just march in the line and try not to stand out so you can get away with it. What a proposition for life is that?
No.
And that's learned helplessness, and unfortunately many people are brought up or trained in that way at some part of their life. Can be in their parental education, can be in their school education,
Can be in the culture.
can be in the culture,
Yes.
and it can be even in the company in which they work. And they are put in line and they are put in place and they don't ask questions. Do what you are told. And that makes people feel helpless. And that is what becomes learned helplessness. And that learned helplessness becomes anger. And we don't want to acknowledge the anger, we push it back. And then either it makes us sick or it starts to manifest as a destructive energy around us. Things go wrong and we have no idea why things go wrong. And we ask ourselves, why is life so bad to us? So it's a big cycle and a big journey. That's why we are doing this extended interview today.
Yes.
Acceptance is the first step. Second step.
The second step is when you see and find out that you're angry and accept it, find your voice. Open your heart, open your fifth chakra, find your voice and stand out and share it with people. Share your story. Say that you're angry. Inspire yourself to share with open heart and open voice about what you're going through.
Yeah, that's powerful to have your voice. Because very often anger victims, helpless people, they cannot find their voice. And that adds to their helplessness. Sometimes they cannot even express it to themselves what's going on. They have lost their voice completely. And they're voiced over by others. So basically, other voices determine what's going on in their life. Their own voice has lost power. And we know how important voice is. In the beginning was the word.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it all started. The creation sound is the word, the mantra, the creative sound. The moment we lose our voice, the moment we totally lose control. And the moment other voices lord it over us and determine what's going on in our life, we are really helpless and we really become angry. So that's why you're telling us, second step, find your voice. And again, give a few hints. What can you do to find your voice? To identify again with your voice?
Finding your voice is you become inspired, and your voice is your protection. Expressing your feelings, expressing how you feel, and even the sound. Sing and be loud, because your voice vibrates. It's a vibration, and finding your voice is what is going to heal that anger. So meditation, movement, yoga, essences, and other healing plants and essential oils will help you open up that space so you can hear yourself. And also talk to your friends, talk to your teachers, talk to the world.
What about singing? What about mantras?
Mantras, it's funny you say that, Aditya, because mantras is one of my main teaching and my main healing that I found, especially I have been working with Sanskrit mantras for more than 3 years now. I received an initiation from a great teacher and also other great teachers in my life. Chanting the mantra, repeating the sound, the vibration, committing to it, is very much similar to the indigenous people reciting your life, murmuring, chanting, hearing your voice. This is how, and mantra is very, very ancient. The first sound we make, the sounds we make are very ancient and very healing. So I always have my mantra mala with me, which is an ancient instrument in yoga tradition. I do commitments for myself in whatever I want to work with. Let's say to find my power, to heal my anger, a new project, and I voice it as an affirmation. And I start chanting that every day for 40 days. Sometimes I did 80 days or 120.
Wow.
Deeply healing.
Great.
Yes.
So now this is really the key moment. You have not only accepted, acknowledged your anger, and instead of, in this second step, instead of jumping around and shouting like mad, which is also a form of voice, but it's an out of control voice, it's a helpless voice. And people who are shouting like crazy or shouting other people down, it's only an expression of their helplessness, because they are deeply wounded and they are very angry and they don't know what to do about it. So instead of that, you use the voice, you find your voice in a positive way. You use it as a mantra, you use it to sing, you use it to speak to people, to make yourself heard.
Yes.
And that is what brings you to the healing. And the healing, the third step is?
The third step is to transform that strong energy of anger. Instead of being self-destructive, the classic expression that all theorists say, anger turned towards oneself becomes self-destructive, becomes depression. Instead of turn that anger into attacking ourselves, we create and we transform that anger, the power, that fire. We transform it into changing our lives.
So you take the destructive energy of anger and you turn it into a creative energy of creating something of value to yourself and to others.
Yes, use that power to create something of value.
Yeah.
Yes.
Now, what about the root of the anger? Would it help if we create even value for those who have hurt us, who were at the beginning of our anger and of our helplessness? Or would it be very difficult to take that step? Even basically, like Jesus was teaching, in that case, not like if one beats you here, let him also beat you here, but like he beats you here and you're still kind to him and you provide value to him. And in that way, you are not the victim. This is very important. People who are helpless, they are victims. And instead of being the victim, you become the commander-in-chief. You don't accept to be a victim. You don't accept to be rendered into that state of helplessness and uncontrollable anger. You turn it around. You turn it into positive. You create something of value for yourself, for others, and possibly even for people who have perpetrated, who have hurt you.
Yes, what is very interesting that Aditya is saying that, and that I observed yesterday, is that anger has a mind of its own. You might have even forgiven the person that hurt you when you said, they're human too. You know, they're human. Somebody did the same to them. Somebody hurt them. They're human too. You might mentally found that forgiveness, but the anger is a whole different thing, that is a whole different energy that can be sitting deep inside of you. So regarding others, when you deal with your feelings and your emotions, there will be definitely a moment that you will realize and understand their humanity. It maybe not always, we don't know why people do what they do. For example, the concentration camps or etc. But definitely we can recognize the humanity, feeling threatened, their own experience. Personally, now at this moment, I respect anger as a big teacher. I really bow down to anger as a big teacher, and especially the loss that my ancestors experienced. I don't find myself having hate for the people who invaded the country. I definitely see that was a great teacher, and definitely with love and unity, we can prevent things like that happening again. That is inspiration.
Wow, very powerful. And now, of course, this goes far beyond entrepreneurship. This goes far beyond just network marketing or internet marketing or information marketing. This goes to the foundations of what we are as human beings. And of course, if things go wrong in the business, you can be angry as well and you feel helpless.
Yes.
And some people experience constant business failures. And they don't realize it's because they are in this loop, in this repeating pattern of undissolved anger. This is why we're recording actually this interview for you. Because some people, they don't succeed in business, or they don't succeed in building their organization or their business or their network or their affiliate partners or whatever. And it's because of hidden anger, suppressed anger that sabotages themselves, anger that acts out to people around them, anger that lets their organization break down again and again, anger that lets them lose their business partners again. And even that anger, that vibration of anger that they carry unconsciously, and other people feel it.
Yes.
And they don't buy from them. Other people feel it and they don't want to join them in their team because of this unresolved anger. And so this is really, it's very deep what we are speaking about.
Absolutely.
Because we always say, grow as a person and you grow your business in network marketing. And it's still something that is not openly taught, but it is, in my experience, one of the principal reasons for failure.
Mm-hmm.
Because helplessness as a repeating pattern, and anger which comes out of helplessness as a destructive force which sabotages yourself and which sabotages even the people around you. And if you don't solve it, you're just in the deja vu situation, same movie all over again. How do you come out of it? So now we can be extremely grateful to you, Sylvia, to be our teacher today.
Thank you.
The 3 steps.
Acceptance, find your voice, and transform your anger into something of value and create.
Fantastic. So simple and so effective. So I hope for all of us, because there's nearly no one on earth who is not involved in this topic in some way or another. People who have been fired, people who have lost their homes, people who have lost their dear ones, people who have lost their company, people whose relationship went up in fire, people who have lost their health and they experience helplessness, and it makes them angry. So we follow this very deeply. I really recommend you to watch this video several times, because probably it will ring several bells in you, and be very sincere with yourself, because anger is a problem that nearly everyone has, and most people never ever acknowledge, and therefore never ever solve and dissolve. And again, what I like so much in your approach, it's so positive, even out of losing everything in a war and going and provide something of value.
Yes.
Use the destructive force and turn it into creative force.
And believe in love.
Wonderful. So that was it for today. Thank you for watching this extended video. Aditya Nowotny, Transformational Leadership Training. Thank you very much, Sylvia.
Thank you. Bye.